This is myself, JRC from Tantra Foundation, and we have Vibha Saraf. As everyone knows, she's a sensational singer, songwriter, and who is going forward in continuity with the folk identity, which is getting overlapped in the age of technological fusion, where we are talking about ChatGPT and AI and all that, where he tries to connect with the community, with the people, with the art, with her folk identity and her singing. And as everyone knows, one of the songs which has become very famous, Dilbaro from Raazi, the film. And so
today
let us talk about
we are at the launch of the Kashmir Chromosomes, which is a book focusing on the resilient stories of 25 individuals having extraordinary talents from the land of Kashmir, which is known as the like paradise on earth. So even Vibha is from there as well,
yes.
And now she's a big sensation in Bollywood, and like her song Dilbaro from Raazi is very popular. So I would want to know about your journey, like how it started from Kashmir to Bollywood. How it's been.
Actually, I was an ex-corporate person, and I used to work for a Big Four, and I thought that I wanted to be a management consultant or maybe would end as a brand manager. But I think life took a turn when I realized that I was singing since I was 4 years old. I did my first show at the Siri Fort in Delhi, and later I think I sang my first debut for a Kashmiri telefilm called Habba Khatun for Pandit Bhajan Sopuri when I was probably 9. And I kept on growing the singing dream, but nobody in my family pursued music seriously. We are Kashmiris, and mostly we only pride in the fact that we are engineers or doctors or other people, But yeah, I mean, I tried to work on I learned Hindustani classical music, but I also continued seriously pursuing only my career as a serious management or a media professional. Finally, when I was just I'd spent considerable amount of time at the Big Four, I realized that there was this one corporate-led HR-led initiative of a pop band, and that's when I realized I'm working 20 hours a day, and then I'm like, my heart's aching for those 3 hours that I spent on a Sunday jamming, because I felt that music was pulling me towards itself. I think that was when I realized that I needed to have that courage, because of also there was not enough acknowledgement happening at work as well, which I thought I really deserved, and that pulled me out. And because of that pulling out, I decided that I'll move to Bombay, and I had enough financially, I'd saved enough, because when you are making city moves, you have to think about things logically as well. Art can't function on survival. So yeah, I mean, so I tried to make it a little more organized. Of course, it took me a while to figure out, because all journeys of all artists are absolutely unique. Your journey won't be different like mine, and hers won't be like his, and there has to be acceptance for that. So I tried doing that. I started singing jingles for ad films. So I used to sing in 14 languages. I started doing voiceovers. So there was an overlap of commercial, film music and advertising music. And that's where I think Shankar Hassan Loy also spotted me. We had met a couple of times. They had heard my folk work, they heard my voice, and they wanted to cast me. And there was the situation that happened with this song for Raazi, which was called Dilbaro. And where we sat and we were just brainstorming between me, Shankarji, Hassanji and Loyji, and Meghna Gulzar and Gulzar Saab both. We are thinking, what can we do for this situation which focuses on Alia's Sehmat character, and like what can we really pick up and make that character. And now picking up folk music and making it relevant to the public is a difficult thing to kind of bridge making effort, because it has to be the right mix, which is their brilliance as composers, because they knew what proportion of the song to be kept in Kashmiri and how much of it was to be, and then it was beautifully written by Gulzar Saab as well. So I think it was justified beautifully, but it began with brainstorming where we would think of, okay, this is Habba Khatun's literature, this is Lal Ded's literature, and this is tough poetry. It's not easy poetry to understand. You have to be, you have to understand mysticism that exists within literature to kind of read between the lines, and commercial music doesn't leave you usually with that much scope to read between the lines. But these lines work beautifully. My mom used to sing this song to me as a child, which was the Khan Merj Koor part, that I am my father's beloved queen. So I thought I'll bring it to them, and God saved my face there, and they beautifully made the song Dilbaro, and now you have witnessed it and we are sitting here.
Yeah. And as you
And
say
also,
that...
can you talk more about your roots in Kashmir? Like, are you coming from a Kashmiri Pandit background, or like?
I mean, yeah, I'm a Kashmiri, and I'm a Kashmiri Hindu.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, the roots, the culture, the beliefs. Can you expand a bit on that? Because a lot of people are completely unaware, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, it's all about like how it's in, I think even in Kolkata with Bengalis who are Hindus or Muslims or Christians also, I don't know, there are many,
Lot.
but maybe majority is between these two. And I feel that it's the culture that's shared. Like if I listen to my grandfather who's no more alive, if I listen to what he used to do, as a puja thing while he used to be in the puja ghar and sing, even if I go to Kashmir today, which I even as recent as last year, the thing that I hear on speakers many a times is the strain of the namaz is exactly the same. What you hear, it's sonically the same ditto. You can't even figure out. In fact, sometimes I would sit with my dad and say, this sounds like Daddy Ji, my grandfathers. Because the thing is, culture doesn't make these communities don't particularly begin with distinctions and silos, right? So there are no lines there. It's we make those lines. If I didn't know that this belonged to this, then I would be like, it's all the same. Food is the same, language is the same, script could be different, and therefore I think even belief systems are also, I think they're fundamentally choices. So.
And also the fact that through your songs you are basically talking about what we say today, not focus on so much on the differences, but focus on the unity, the integration. And
I mean,
celebrate the differences, respect the differences.
I think there is so much to celebrate.
Yes, absolutely.
There is so much to celebrate, and I don't mean that in a shallow way where you're just putting something away.
Yeah.
You recognize as individuals we all go through our journeys.
Yes.
We have our share of bit of struggles. Correct. I respect your struggle, you respect my struggle.
Yeah.
But together we come and we try to make it we make it a healing space rather than a scarring space.
Yeah.
And that has to be a very conscious effort in terms of, what do you call it? Like basically, it has to be a consciousness that is afloat across, which is hard to achieve.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It takes a lot of effort. You have to forget yourself to an extent to understand that the basic premise is humanity.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what you felt when you attended the Kashmir Chromosome program? Like, what was your feeling about this whole...
My feeling was very simple. He wrote an email to me, Mr. Sinha, and I was like, okay, I don't know this specific person. He wrote a long email to me and he told me about what he was doing, and I was like, okay, he seems to be very passionate about Kashmir and he's detailing these stories, and there's another boy who's doing this, and there's so many people also who are showing interest in it. Let me just see, because it felt, after I had a telephonic conversation with him, I felt like his soul is in the right place, and I think that's what I look at. I don't give so much of importance to words all the time. I try to understand the intention.
Okay, one last question before we just wrap it up. So, I would understand that since you said that you're coming from a corporate background and then entered into the music industry, so you bring something which I understand, talking with you and the way you were talking, something completely different on the table, because you have seen the corporate world, how jingles work. It's a bit like Piyush Pandey, were using Rajasthani folk content while doing advertisement. So he's doing the Fevicol ad, that's good.
Yeah.
But he is also recovering something, folk identity, which was somewhere lost in the the advertising world. right? So I think your approach to the folk and the Bollywood, because there is a commercial thing angle to it, and you also similarly want to keep up with the folk identity. So
I love it all.
Yeah,
I
so
love it all.
How you manage this, because this is something which is very difficult, and someone who has got hands both the hands in the buckets would be able to understand the corporate management side of it, and how you really have the spontaneous thing which comes with music and the creativity that comes with music.
I think it kind of helps you.
Yeah.
I think she has the answer.
Yeah.
But
It's a beautiful thing.
I think I completely joy. It's just a joy for me.
My name is Joy.
That's what I said, joy, comma, it's just a joy for me, because all that I'm doing and all that my dreams have come to fulfillment and to light, and we guys are sitting here and talking, is because of things that I have liked subconsciously. Folk music was ingrained because my grandfather, my mama's side of the maternal side of the family, everybody sings. So it's ingrained in you, and you are consuming it
Hardwired.
subconsciously. Yeah,
Hardwired.
even if they are not professionals, but everything,
It's
even like
chromosomes.
even a daily chore like cooking, there has to be a rhythm to it. There has to be, and if you take that to even Kashmir, a lot of folk came from daily activities as well, right? You're growing paddy, you're growing in the rice fields, you're working. That's how folk came into form. You're doing a rhythmic act. How do you break that monotony? So I think it was subconsciously fed in me. I am only responding to the subconscious wiring that happened for a while, and it doesn't feel like effort at all. In fact, when I focus too much on my rational brain, which mostly takes over, I am not successful. But I think many people.
Spiritual anecdote. Like
I think you will be great with that one. Like what you infer from it. I think rationality is overrated and heart is underrated. Brain is like given a lot more onus, and I think it shouldn't be, because if we were not to remember our conditioning, our dealings, however we have grown up and whatever stories we have carried forward, in the nutshell, or let's say at the very root, it's just our heart which is what do you call it, or also innocent, and it's untouched, and it's fragile, and it's vulnerable, and I think it's important to focus on that, because everything takes you away from that, and if you listen to that particular thing very keenly, without much disturbance, you'll realize that there's a lot of power in that.
Yeah, and that brings you to success actually.
I think everything else is a byproduct.
Yes.
I don't think I'm that successful, whatever the said.
No, I think you were on the right track, and while you were trying to strum the guitar, you were singing, you were trying to strum the guitar, I could understand that, as you were describing your journey, you said the rational side is there because you were walked in the corporate, so you know the transactional world very well. The same
it is important for all of us.
Yes, all of us.
Otherwise,
Yeah, but I think you have a typical emotional and intuitive side as well, which
I think as women we are gifted
now.
with that.
Yes.
Yes, but I would like to say that we have interviewed a lot of people in the recent past, including Zakir Hussain,
wow,
John McLaughlin,
yes.
a lot of
Shakti.
people. Yeah, Shakti.
Yeah.
So, but I would say the kind of openness you had with the audience, you wanted to interact with the audience, I really appreciate that, because we don't see that in many artists nowadays.
I totally believe that. I think
there is always an invisible kind of a glass
barrier.
This is why I told Mr. Sinha also that I'll come on my own. I'll not get many more people with me, because I feel just that the space was vast because of the kind of curation that it was. Otherwise, if you give me, I would actually just curate this much of a space.
Yeah.
The lesser audience, the more audience that's sitting closer to you, the more you can form a bond.
Yeah.
The thing is that, people say that there has to be a divide. I don't think there has to be. When I'm singing, I'm conversing with you.
Yes.
If I'm not conversing with you, then in a way, okay, when I perform, I know this is taking it a bit long, but it's, I think, a good point to make. When I perform for myself. If I don't feel like I am there, I'm unified with my own self while I'm singing a line and I'm somewhere else, and mostly I'm distracted, let me also say that on cam, I am usually very distracted. Just that when I'm singing or I'm composing something, my attention is really focused on that particular thing for that while. So I have given many performances, and it's not like every time I'm 100% there. And when I'm not, let me tell you, people catch it. And when they catch it, they latch onto it. So audience is very interesting, and I think you have to respect them completely. Take them with you, because if you take them with you, you are with yourself. There's no chance that it can't be successful. It can't be conversational.
It etches in the memory.
It's important.
Yeah.
Even if it's an audience of 3 people.
About your IIFA win, would you want to say something about that? Like, were you like over the moon? Like,
I am absolutely thankful. There's a lot of gratitude for that step happening. Especially the next year was full of COVID. In fact, we got nominated for Gully Boy as well the next year. Extremely fortunate. So I'm saying that maybe the subconscious steps were a blessing. There are always blessings that are unraveling right now, and probably there are more. But extremely grateful, because recognition is important as much as performance and talent. I mean, it's important for an artist to get encouraged, to get validated. I will say that, okay, I don't need validation, but that's not true. Everybody needs
reciprocation.
Everybody needs. Let's get done with the word validation.
Yeah.
Acknowledgement is important.
Reciprocation
Yes.
is important.
Yes.
and future projects in the pipeline. You
Yes.
don't have to disclose much, but you can
There's
say
nothing to hide. I think I'm fairly open about. I am composing, writing my own songs and my own music. Hopefully, we'll get out with an album or an EP soon.
Before Diwali?
Wow,
You can
that's a
share
promise.
It. It will be going on YouTube.
I
so
want,
your
I,
fans
I
will
want,
know.
I want first the listeners to access Bikhre, the song that I just released. It's gotten quite a good bit of audio streams, 1.5 lakh audio streams on Spotify for it being an independent song. You know, there is
Independent release.
nothing, no pumps, nothing, and I think that's what the core of music that connects, writing that connects, writing at any level. You're writing a piece of prose or poetry, and that connects with somebody. People will come to it, even if they come slowly and they take their time. So I'm looking forward to that, and music particularly, composing, and of course singing songs. I would love to sing songs in Calcutta for Bengali composers as well. I sing in Bangla as well, other than singing in 13 more languages, but I need a little bit of supervision. Bengali I'm better with because I spent a lot of time with Mallus and Bongs during my masters.
So we are coming up with a program called Time as a Landscape, where we are having poets, we are having people like filmmakers, and then we are having musicians and dancers, and putting all together. I mean, we see time, and time is a landscape. So where we would like you to be part of it.
I would love to be.
And we were starting with Kolkata because it is the place, the Kali Khetro as it is called, goddess of time. Then we take it to
Kali
Barbican and London and other places, simulate the same
Is it
thing.
your curation, this festival?
This entire thing is done by the Tantra Foundation, will be done.
Lovely,
We'll start
lovely.
that.